The other day, I was scrolling TikTok and suddenly I just stopped. Something felt off. Like I was watching a show I didn't buy a ticket for. Perfect smiles, flawless filters, scripted captions, everyone was playing a part. And it made me wonder, when did social media stop being about real connection and start feeling like a stage? And I think almost everyone has felt that emptiness, the craving for something honest beneath all the polish. So today I wanted to get real with you. Why does social media feel so fake? And how did we get there? And maybe, just maybe, how can we find some truth again? This isn't about nostalgia, it's about being human in a filtered world. So let's figure this out together. I remember the first time I fell in love with YouTube. It was in the early 2000s, and the platform was this scrappy, unfiltered space. People posted vlogs and shaky, unedited clips of their lives. A teenager ranting about school, a traveler sharing blurry footage of a new city, someone laughing as they were burning dinner. There was no script, there was no agenda, there was just people sharing because they wanted to. Now, there are some people who call this the golden age of YouTube, when authenticity wasn't a marketing term, it was the whole point. Instagram had the same magic when I first joined. It was about photos, plain and simple, a grainy shot of your coffee, a sunset that stopped you in your tracks, a goofy moment with a friend that felt personal, like peeking into someone's world, without the pressure to perform. Even Facebook, hard as it is to imagine now, was kind of minimalistic in its layout. It was about staying in touch with people that you met in real life, sharing updates that felt grounded but real. But something sort of shifted. Social media stopped feeling like a diary and started to feel like a billboard. Posts became polished, profiles became brands, and it's not just influencers, it's all of us, in a way, curating versions of ourselves for likes and follows. And this didn't happen by chance. In the early days, platforms were built for sharing, but as they grew, they became businesses. Facebook went public in 2012, YouTube was bought up by Google in 2006, and suddenly the focus wasn't connection, it was profit. Now, as media scholar Tufevsky has written, social media platforms are engineered to keep us engaged, not to feel connected. And that shift changed the soul of these spaces. So let's talk about algorithms, because they're the quiet force driving this change. When TikTok came along, it sort of rewrote the rules. The algorithm was almost too good. It watched how long you linger on a video, what you skip, and builds a profile on what keeps you scrolling. And it doesn't care who you follow or what you say you like. It's about keeping you on the platform, period. You're not choosing your feed. The algorithm is choosing you. And YouTube and Instagram has followed this trend. Recommended videos, For You pages, suggested posts, they're all designed to maximize time on the platform. And then came short format content, reels, shorts, TikTok clips. They're quick, addictive, and built to make you lose track of time. And you think, I'm just gonna watch one, but an hour later, you're still there, caught in a loop of polished snippets. This is part of what's called the attention economy, a term coined by psychologist Herbert Simon back in the 1970s. In a world overflowing with information, our attention is the ultimate prize. Social media companies aren't selling us content, they're selling our time to advertisers. Everybody knows this. A 2024 study from Statista found that the average person spends over 2 hours a day on social media, more than 700 hours a year. That's time we could spend with friends, learning, or just being present. Now, there's a new twist to this story, which is AI. Some predict that AI-generated influencers, perfect scripted avatars, will replace real people. They're cheaper, easier to control, and they never mess up. This is a logical next step, but I'm not so sure about this. You see, history shows that we always gravitate towards the real, not the flawless. Think about artists who've endured. Bob Dylan's raw, unpolished voice, or Toni Morrison's unflinching prose. As poet Mary Oliver once wrote, "The most regretful people on earth are those who felt the call to creative work, who felt their own creative power restive and uprising and gave it to neither power nor time." I think we always seek out the human, the imperfect, even if it's buried under layers of polish. So, where do we go from here? I've had these moments where I wanted to delete every app and pretend like it's 2005, but that's not realistic, not for me anyway. Social media is part of our lives, and it can be a tool for connection, inspiration, beauty, and even money-making. The question is, how do we make it feel human again? So a few years ago, minimalism was everywhere. People were clearing out their closets, their calendars, their minds. It wasn't just about owning less. It was about creating space to breathe, to think, to be. And I think we need some kind of digital minimalism now, a way to strip away the noise and focus on what matters. So here's what I've been doing. First, I've gotten very intentional about who I follow. If someone's content feels like a performance, if it leaves me feeling empty or less than, I unfollow. No judgment, just a quiet choice to protect my peace. On Instagram, there is a trick. You can tap on the logo at the top left of the home screen and select following, and it will show you posts only from accounts that you followed in chronological order. It's like stepping back to the Instagram of a decade ago, when things felt more personal, as long as you pick personal people. For YouTube, I just go straight to my subscriptions page. On a computer, you can bookmark it, so it's the first thing that you see. There are also browser extensions that hide recommended videos, which helps me to stay focused on the creators that I care about. TikTok's a bit harder, but I've started setting a timer, 15 minutes max, and sticking to it. It's not perfect, but it's a start. Real shift, though, is internal. I've been asking myself, what do I want from social media? Connection, knowledge, joy, and what's just guilty pleasure that leaves me feeling hollow? Separating those has been grounding. There is this concept in psychology called intentional attention, which is about choosing where to direct your focus. A 2023 study in Frontiers in Psychology found that curating your media consumption, being deliberate about who you and what you engage with, can lower stress and increase well-being. It's not about quitting social media. It's about using it with purpose. One practice that I've started is pausing before I open an app and asking, what am I here for? It's simple, but it kind of anchors me. It reminds me to seek out what nourishes, not just what's loud and shiny. So the truth is, I'm still figuring this out. Just like you, I don't have all the answers, and I don't pretend to, but I believe authenticity is worth searching for. Not the kind that's staged for likes, but the kind that feels like a deep breath, like coming home to yourself. Now, social media doesn't have to be a place where we lose who we are. It can be a space for stories, for connection, for the messy, beautiful truth of being human. So here is my invitation. Take a moment today to look at your social media. Who's in your feed? What's filling your time? And does it feel like you? If it doesn't, maybe it's time to let go of what's not serving you. Create a little corner of the internet that feels like a sanctuary, not a stage. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. How do you keep social media real? Drop a comment. I read them all, and I'm curious about your story. If this resonates, maybe share it with someone who needs it. And if you want more conversation like this, hit subscribe. I'm here reflecting on the world, one video at a time. Until next time, take care.